Been with Downhill Smooth Tarmac since the start, you'll recognise the bike behind me. It's Pinky the Peugeot, and me and Pinky got some unfinished business. Welcome back to another episode of Downhill Smooth Tarmac, and as I said in the intro, today we're going to be talking about a stalwart member of the channel, Pinky the Peugeot. But before we talk about what we're going to do in today's video, let's have a look back on Pinky's history and how it came to be what it is now.
Okay, so Pinky actually started out as a bike that was given to me by a really good friend of mine because he thought I'd like to build it up. Turns out it was a bit small for me as a drop bar bike, so I went ahead and made it into a flat bar machine. Originally a single speed, you guys voted and asked for me to make it 2x10. But before that, we hit the trails with it as a single speed, and it turned out to be an awful lot of fun, even though at that point, all I could squeeze in was 35C Gravel Kings. With the big wide bars, it was stable, it was fun, and it kept up with everybody else, and most importantly, it looked awesome. And for the most part, it worked out. I stayed upright, apart from when I didn't. Yes, I went out the side door on that one. But, you know, it was really muddy and it was middle of winter. There was ice, there was sloopy gloop and all that stuff. And, you know, that fall actually symbolised another problem that we found with Pinky. The thing I hadn't thought about because I was too busy into its looks, that actually when it came to mud and winter riding, there wasn't any clearance. So we had a bit of a gathering of leaves and guck and various other bits of mud and whatnot. It was, not great. But it didn't stop me loving the bike, and it didn't stop that ride either. We carried on for another good 20 miles after that. And that was where we were. Pinky was a great bike. I geared it up and I promised you a test ride.
Come on, let's take the wheel out, chops. So Pinky has already been through quite a lot, but I promised you a test ride and I never delivered. Pinky just sat, hung up while I built more and more gravel things to play with. I thought it's about time to make amends on that subject and get Pinky out of retirement. And actually, what I've ended up doing is adding some more goodies ahead of the test ride. Let me show you what I've done to Pinky. Okay, so I've made some changes to Pinky. First of all, I've changed up the wheel set. I happen to have these Shimano RSs knocking about. I thought they'd just give it a little bit more modern flavour. I've also managed, and don't ask me how, but I've managed to squeeze some 38C tyres. We ain't going any bigger. 38C up from the 35s we had before. There's definitely not going to be any mud clearance now, but I think we agreed back then there's never ever going to be mud clearance for Pinky. So maybe summer gravel thrashing might be more its forte. I've also made some changes to help make it stop, hopefully. Yes, in an effort to try and help this bike stop a little bit more than it did with the original side pulls, I've fitted these. These are some dual pivot Zitto cheap things that I had knocking around. They were for another project, didn't need them, so they came the Peugeot's way. I've still left the V-brake pads on, and hopefully they'll give us just a little bit more stopping power. So that's one of the big mods. To do that, I've also had to drill out the fork and the brace at the back to take a captive sort of recessed nut, like in a more modern style. But it all helps add to Pinky's cool look. I should also mention as well that the tyres, Vittoria Terreno dries. These 38C tyres managed to pick up, bargain from Decathlon, but brand new for Pinky nonetheless. So another nice mod to go along with those Shimano RS wheels. Oh yeah, got some TPU tubes as well, you know, because weight's really important on an old 80s road bike that's been converted to a gravel bike. One more mod after that. And that final mod is this. It's a Pro Logo Nago. I only put it on here because I'm using one of these on the on one and they are really good. And this one happens to have bits of pink on it, so I thought, why not? So there we go. She's had quite a lot of upgrades. Okay, so as you can see, over the past few months, I've just been tinkering and chucking bits all over this. And I think what we've now got is basically the most heavily modified basic Peugeot frame that anyone's ever mucked about with. based purely on the fact that I love the paint job. That was the most important thing for me. I love the retro paint job. So now it's time to make amends to you guys that have probably been waiting a year for me to actually get around to test riding it and seeing how it is, see if it's any good, see if it's how I remember it, see if it stops, see if it goes. Should we go to the trails? Yeah. Come on, Pinky, to the trails. Ooh, yeah, let's see what she's got. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, hello. Yes, Chopsy. Fucking hell, I'm out of breath. Evening. Okay, so we're a few miles in to the test ride. The gears are working fine and the bike is generally behaving as I remember it. But the first problem has reared its head. And I kind of knew this might be an issue. And that problem is these. It's those STX levers. Now, these are technically V-brake levers, so they're V-brake pull, which I get isn't right. Normally, because these have got a bit of pivot adjustment, they work perfectly with dual pull and side pull brakes. They work, they just don't feel very convincing. I'm not sold on that. That's an easy change though, I guess. That is what is essentially an old road bike handle this so well. That's brilliant. Okay, so just a little bit of road work on the Peugeot now. And with that double chain set, it's flying along. I just want to go and explore a little trail, see if I can link things up a bit. Now this is a bit weird because it shows us bridleway at one end, but possibly footpath at the other. Oh no, hang on, it's down there. Okay, let's see. I think this might not be bridleway. Oh shit! Ow! Bloody wide bars. But this, on my mapping, joins a piece of bridleway. So it warrants a little exploration. Yeah, this is where it gets a bit weird. So I think this, oh, this is lovely. I think officially this might still be classed as the footpath bit. Then it becomes bridleway in a second. So I think that's fair game. Not to upset anybody, which I've already done once today. Hey! This feels like a decent ride away. God, I wish I had some brakes that would stop me better. Yeah, at this end, look. At this end, bridleway. That way is definitely footpath. So, I am just as bloody wise. So there we go. New bit of trail found, which is pretty cool. Anyway, back to the Peugeot. It's really doing rather well. Apart from it doesn't stop very well. Stopping is an issue, big time. Oh yes, this will work as a new bit of trail, even if it's a bit cheeky. God, is there ever a time of year when it's not soaking wet down here? Check out this thing climbing up this. Flippin' egg. Go on, little Peugeot. Oh, after whipping up here with these, I think it's time to wrap this video up. Let's do it. Okay, so we've got nearly 11 miles into the test ride, and as you can tell by the fading light, it's an evening one, so we won't be doing much more. So what's the Peugeot like? It's light, it's nimble. It's hard to believe this started out as a humble 12-speed or 10-speed basic road bike. It's really, really good fun. It's very, very stable in its own way, but you do have to watch where you keep your weight. If you go too far forwards, you are going to come a cropper. But it's great fun to ride. Adding the gears has made it just as enjoyable as it was when it was a single speed, but actually just a little bit more versatile when you get on the road and things like that. It climbs, as you'd expect, because it's light and nimble, very, very well. It descends okay. The big down point is those brakes. I don't know whether it's the choice of using V-brake pads or whether it's those levers, but there's just not a lot there. That we can work on, that's no problem, and we will. Also, I needed to remember to bring a spanner with me because the saddle isn't high enough, and I needed a spanner to be able to undo the seat pin. So, overall though, very, very good ride, and I am more than happy with it. Plus, looking at it here in this light, it looks great. It's so much fun. Oh, the Vittoria Terreno dries, I shall be going to Decathlon for another pair of those because they are fantastic. In that 38C, they really are good. I put 40 PSI in these thinking that would be plenty, and actually they're rolling around with enough room to put a little bit more in these dry conditions and be just that little bit faster. Overall, great. Really pleased with it. Yeah, I want to get those brakes right so I can really see how it behaves. So I'm going to switch back to some road pads and I'm going to change to the right pull ratio levers. They should technically work, as I said before. They should work, but they just don't want to. So with that, I think this test ride is done, so I'm going to sign off. So I hope your next ride is downhill smooth tarmac, keep your wheels spinning, keep your rubber on the road or your knobblies out on this dusty trail. Man, it's great. You might have had some rain, but it's still very, very dry. Be safe out there. Look out for one another. Be nice to people, even like today, we had somebody not being very nice to us. Be nice to people, be a good human being first, and even better, cyclist second. If you get a minute, it'd be amazing if you could like and subscribe for more content, but don't let any of that get in the way of you getting out and riding your bike. Until next time, this has been Downhill Smooth Tarmac. Thank you for watching.